The Bank of England is expected to raise rates later by up to 0.5% point. Rising interest rates can affect people in different ways, often creating extra costs and worries. But while it can increase the cost of borrowing, hitting business plans or mortgage hopes, savers may give a small cheer. The BBC spoke to 4 people anticipating a change in the circumstances as a result of the expected rate hike. London-based Patrick Reed owes thousands on credit cards and loans and fears an interest rate rise will cost him. I have personal loans and credit cards totaling £25,000, so any increase will be hugely noticeable. At present, I repay about £1,800 a month, but I've worked out that I will conservatively need to pay another £250 a month to keep up with the debts. My income is good as I own my own business, and hopefully that will continue, but if my customers drop off, it will be financially painful. I will simply have to tighten my belt and be extra cautious in my spending, which means all of those non-essential items will be cut from my budget. I'm very worried about future rate rises. I honestly don't think the UK can take another hike. It will cripple the economic outlook and businesses will suffer. Wayne Trim, 38, works as customer services manager at Morrisons in Verwood, Dorset. He's worried about the impact of rising interest rates on his mortgage. I'm paying £515 a month at the moment. Every 0.25% rise adds around £45, so a 0.5% rise means easily over £600. That could start hindering my commute to work. I moved to a new store a little while ago. It's an hour's drive. They did give me a pay rise to move stores, but I needed a new car, which took a fair chunk off my pay rise. I bought a hybrid. I'm spending about £200 a month fitting it up. If you look at everything globally, everything is going up. Fuel, food, we can look at the food shop and be a bit more crafty with that. I do get a discount for working at Morrisons. You think you're in a position where you're financially comfortable, and then all these things start. It's like a never-ending cycle of trying to make ends meet. I'm also repaying some loans. That's about £270 a month. That finishes in April, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm a simple person. I don't understand why they're doing the rate increases. They tell us it's to curb borrowing, but all it means for me is I'm cancelling Netflix and Amazon. Louise Parker and her husband have been saving to move home in Brighton since 2020, but are having to have a major rethink because of rising interest rates. I know that we are in a very privileged position to be in a home that we own in the first place with a decent mortgage rate fixed for 2 years, but we've had to substantially reconsider the amount of money we can borrow. It's meant we're looking at smaller houses, which, considering we were wanting to move to start a family, is making us wonder whether we should bother moving at all. Our options are either to stay put where we are or move to something about £200,000 cheaper than we had hoped. We're also worried about how long we should fix for if we move. We don't want to be stung after 2 years if rates have gone up even more or have to downsize because we can no longer afford the repayments. It's just such an adjustment to have to think about interest rates. It's a new hurdle in the mix. Edmund Wood is having to save to buy a home close to London, so hopes an interest rate rise will help his deposit grow more quickly. He also hopes rising rates will help the rum business that he owns. An increase in interest rates is good for me. I'm saving up a deposit, so more interest will mean my savings will go up quicker. And as I look further ahead to actually buying a house, I've been worried about rising property prices. They have climbed every month for the last 12 months in a row. That wouldn't be good if I was ready to buy now, but in 2 years when I've saved up during a period of increasing interest rates, hopefully house prices will fall again, which will leave me in a position to buy. Also, hopefully by then interest rates will have stabilised somewhat, meaning I'll be able to get a stable interest rate on a mortgage. I think rising interest rates will also be good for my rum business, even if they bring inflation down. That in turn should reduce the cost of living, leaving people having more money in their pocket at the end of the month. Paula Jibs-Byrant runs a small manufacturing business in North Wales called Dr. Zig's Extraordinary Bubbles, and fears a rate rise will put her expansion plans into jeopardy. We're ambitious and currently expanding globally and finding growth in export markets, but with expansion on the cards, we look to borrow to increase production and outputs and manage their growth. Increased interest rates will make this hugely more risky and challenging. It will bring into question the viability of our UK manufacturing base. I'm also concerned that if our trade customers can't borrow, they will then cut on their spending and their purchases from us. We will all be affected.